G'day guys, Tim here from Beat the Reset with the guys from Stormrake. How are you guys?
Good to be here, my friend. Always a pleasure.
What about you guys?
Yeah, very good.
Yeah, going
Yeah, a
great.
little bit of shell shock. Yeah. So normally when I ask that question,
Yeah,
a response.
there's usually a
There's
response.
some kind of, we didn't get much.
So, we're working through it.
All right, so we'll start again. Guy from the guy in the hat from Beat the Reset with a Baron of Bitcoin. How are you, dear sir?
Good, my friend. Always a pleasure to be with the Beat the Reset crew. Let's get stuck into it and unpack markets.
The Beat the Reset crew is a little smaller than the Stormrake crew at the moment. But anyway, now, of course, on this side, we've got lovely Kushi. How are you, Kushi? You want to introduce yourself and tell us who you are and what it is you actually do?
Of course. I'm Kushi. I'm one of the senior brokers here at Stormrake. And yeah, I help people get into Bitcoin. It's lovely.
That's very simple. And you can't say. Would you like
Yeah,
to
I'll
introduce yourself?
keep it pretty simple as well. Brody, I'm one of the senior brokers as well, and I do also help people get into Bitcoin.
Fantastic. Geez, I was waiting for a bit more. That's all right. No meat and veg on this stuff.
That's all right.
All right,
Straight to the point.
Straight into it. Not like you and I get stuck in the weeds. So, Bish, tell us where Bitcoin is today. What should people be doing? Where are the markets? Over to you, sir.
So Bitcoin is trading at around 86,000 US dollars at the time of we're recording this. The reason why we've seen this incredible sell-off in Bitcoin, equities, and now more recently precious metals, as we see assets get sold off across the risk spectrum, is Japanese bond yields have been spiking. Why does this matter for you? Japan is the world's cheap credit factory. If you think about China is where people get cheap goods and products, you think about Japan is where we get cheap credit from. And when those credit borrowing costs have increased significantly, because really what's happening, the Japanese people or the Bank of Japan is between a rock and a hard place. Either they commit to letting this debt bubble collapse and that they can get in front of inflation, or they let inflation run really, really hot and effectively just let the yen completely collapse. So it's a really tough position to be in. So right now we're witnessing some short-term liquidity contractions. People are selling assets in order to pay off their liabilities. The reason why these big liabilities occur in the first place is through something known as the yen carry trade, where they borrow against the yen, take out US dollars, or borrow against the yen to buy US dollars, and then they plow that into assets. And those assets are usually things like Bitcoin, equities, precious metals, because they've got a better rate of return, and you can pay off the interest rate quite easily. When those borrowing costs increase, you have to sell assets in order to cover them. And this isn't your mum and dad investors that are taking out the carry trade, right? You're talking about massive institutions, hedge funds, sovereign wealth funds, big players with billions of dollars worth of leverage. So when those kind of liquidity contractions come through, everybody's going to feel it. But we've seen this time and time again. We saw the yen carry trade take us from 73K to 49K last year. We saw obviously the Trump tariff tantrums, which caused liquidity contraction, take us from 108 down to 74. And now we've gone from 126 down to 85. So really what it comes down to is we buy the dip here at Stormrake. We remain cool, calm, and collected because we know what we're buying and what assets we're dealing in.
Absolutely. Now, Kush, you're on the trading floor over at Stormrake. What is the sentiment around this asset at the moment that you're sort of experiencing?
Sure. I think it's a bit of both. Obviously, there are some people that are very excited to buy the dip, which is how we like it. All three of us, Brody, myself, and Bish, bought so much Bitcoin during this dip, so it's perfect. And then, of course, there are some frantic sellers as well. But for Stormrake, whatever gives our client peace of mind is what we want, right? So if that means taking some risk off the table during times of volatility, that's absolutely fine. But something that we like to say is dollar cost averaging, right? Dollar cost averaging is the perfect strategy to use during times of volatility. It allows you to benefit from, range of prices and really allows you to average out that buy price.
Taught your crew well there, I see. Dear Baron, very nice. That is exactly what I did on my video. I said dollar cost averaging is the best way to quell emotion.
Well, I do send your content to them, so
You obviously watched that. The only one, because I didn't get many likes on it. Now, you said something, and I'll cross over to Brody in a second. Frantically selling. You said there are some people frantically. Now, that's a big word. Frantic. Why, Brody, why would people be frantic? What will cause somebody to be
Obviously, the market is very volatile at the moment. Yeah.
But should you be frantic in a volatile market? What do you do in a volatile market? Tell people about your experience.
Well, as Mitch said, it's good to be cool, calm, collected. Like these are the times where you actually probably make the most money, not when the price is going up.
Yep.
It's when the price is sort of being volatile.
So when you see the price dip, is your immediate response to be frantic?
Absolutely not. On my media response is yes, I get to buy more Bitcoin.
Right.
But it is about implementing a strategy, sticking to the strategy.
There's a
and
word, strategy. How important is a strategy?
It is very, very important. Like I said, during times of volatility, you need to have a strategy in place so that you know that you capture like multiple price points and getting in at different levels. So it is important to have the strategy in place. Like Kushi said, dollar cost averaging is important, and especially during these times.
Absolutely. Now, I also want to ask you about volatility as well, Kush. You know, as the market dips, how are you feeling about this market dipping? Are you frantic?
Not at all.
Can you explain to them? Can you explain to your audience from a female trading point of view? Because I mean, we're all males.
Yeah.
Actually, I think we all. Yeah, we're all males.
Yeah. Identify it.
But we identify as males. From your perspective, do you have this frantic response?
Not at all. Look, I don't think it's anything to do with female or males. I think it's just to do with understanding strategy, right? And so if you understand that Bitcoin is a long-term value-driven kind of potential, you understand that when times of volatility, you get excited, right? Every time I see the price go down, Brody and I are on the race to buy first. And so it's always really exciting at the Stormrake office. But yeah, during times of volatility, there's nothing to panic about as long as you just zoom out a bit and see the big picture.
I'm always a little bit premature on my dip buying, so I came out. I
always premature.
I came out and I said, guys, I'm buying the dip. It's 90K. I think that's it. We had that bounce off 88,000. I said, look, I think this is it. 90,000. That's it. And what these guys do, they always wait for me to come in. And then the price drips a little bit more, and then they buy, and they always come out and say, "I bought below this." So
I was going to say, it's almost like a competition with you guys. Like, I bought at 40, I bought at 20, I bought at 0. Actually,
we do keep the buy levels up on the board in the office, just so that we know.
We actually do have
in the loss.
Genuine competition. It's like we have, because the thing is that we're buyers, right? These guys are bulls, and that's what I love about them. They're always bullish. So, we'll throw up our purchase orders on the screen. So we've got nowhere to hide. Like for us, we're completely aligned with our clients. When we're saying we're buying the dip, when we say we're dollar cost averaging, that's exactly what we're doing. Because at the end of the day, these guys are high integrity, super sharp, super smart brokers. And if they're telling their clients, buy, you know what they're going to be doing? Buy.
Just a rough guess. I was going to say now there's two sides to this. There's buying and there's selling. Should you be more aggressive on the buying side or more aggressive on the selling side? There's a question.
It's a good question. I'll let the guys give their perspectives. But I think from my perspective, always be a buyer. But if you're going to sell, my advice to everybody has been sell with intention. If you've got a family holiday, a need for a new car or whatever it may be, you're going to do something that requires some short-term capital and you want to sell your assets to free up liquidity, then that's perfectly reasonable. You're not selling in a panic. You're not selling for just because you just saw the price one morning and you decided that's it, I'm going to sell. You sell with intention and you sell with reason, and you'll never feel bad about it. And if you're continuously buying and accumulating, you always have this nice, healthy asset base that when the time comes for you to upgrade a car, go on a holiday, or just go for 6 months off work and you can live off your assets, you've got the base to do so.
Yeah, absolutely. So a lot of people that come in who are new for this Bitcoin idea, they want to know when to sell all the time. Do you guys get that? And then people always go, well, so when can I sell it? And what point would you ever sell it is the question. Can I put that to you guys? Like, when would you sell, for example?
Yeah, look, I think it's a very personal, like case-to-case basis. Me personally, I'm not ever going to entirely sell my Bitcoin holdings. I'm always going to be holding Bitcoin, and always stacking. That said, as mimicking what Bitch said, at times of if I want to go on a trip or some, I will take cash off the table if need be. Bitcoin, the beauty of it is it's a 24/7 market and it's one of the most liquid markets out there. So I can always get back into AUD. But yeah, I don't see selling in my near future.
Yeah, Brody, what about you?
Yeah, absolutely. So you always have to worry about when to sell, when to buy. But with actually Bitcoin, you have to draw back to the reason why you're purchasing in the first place.
Yeah, talk about that.
Actually the utility on what the desire that you want to get the Bitcoin. So me personally, I'm always a buyer. I don't think I've sold any Bitcoin.
And does that serve you well? I mean, being a buyer, do you find it serves you well?
Well, the reason that I want to get into Bitcoin, utilize Bitcoin, is because you talk about a lot of getting out of the banking system and holding money and actually real assets. And Bitcoin enables you to do that. But there are different utilities for it, use cases for it. Bish always talks about how he utilizes Bitcoin when he traveled overseas.
Yeah, a lot of mathematics.
So, yeah,
None of the.
yeah, exactly. Maybe not you're utilizing the Bitcoin rather than selling. And yeah, that's the
Because you
extra
can't
Bitcoin
utilize-
is made.
Sorry, I was interrupting you.
Oh, go ahead.
I was just saying you can't utilize Bitcoin if you haven't got it.
Exactly.
So you know the whole point is to not sell it. I think this is really a great education. Fish, any ideas on that?
Look, I guess in closing for me, it's just about, for me, Bitcoin isn't a buy, sell type of scenario. It is the base and bedrock of my investment portfolio. And then you can add on top of that, you can add precious metals, you can add on other investments that you're interested in that can round out your portfolio. But Bitcoin plays the bedrock of my investment portfolio because for me, it's liquid, it's 24/7. I can use it anywhere. I can travel the world and just have a little bit of Bitcoin in my hot wallet and everything just opens up for me. And I think that for me, that I can't put a price tag on. So, and I've always been a big believer that price is what you pay and value is what you get. As your broker, I'll always give you the best price. But what you walk away with is the value of your Bitcoin that you can do with it at whatever you please. And because it's a truly global sovereign asset that you can do with it as you please, you can add to it, you can sell it if you want, you can borrow against it, you can spend it wherever Bitcoin's accepted. I think it gives you so many limitless options. People can sometimes get overwhelmed by that. But my message is quite simple. Focus on the Bitcoin, add as much of it as you possibly can where possible during periods of volatility. And that's it. That's my, I guess,
All right.
message.
That's a great message. All right, as we wind up, I want you to, just as I'm just waxing over, but think of something really that you'd like to share with the audience as I'm winding up, see what I'm doing. I'm giving them a moment to absorb the question. I bought that for $10, by the way. No wonder it keeps going out. You just, as you mentioned, value versus price. I went for price, obviously. Kush, you're a very experienced Bitcoin trader. Everybody on this channel knows who you are. They now get to see you. And what is like something you can share? It could be anything you like, but with regard to either investing or Bitcoin or sentiment around it, what is something you can share, something you could give some value to the audience that we may not have mentioned today, that you're working with stuff all day, every day.
Mhm.
Over to you. Anything you like. You can say anything you like.
Sure. I think relating to the point previously, spending shouldn't be your main goal. I think accumulation should be, because if you don't have enough, it's no more point spending it, right? So accumulation is step one. I always get a lot of questions. So how can I use my Bitcoin? But they would, you haven't got to half a Bitcoin yet. You haven't got to that one Bitcoin mark yet. So worry about stacking as opposed to spending. Just keep it together.
Geez, I tell you what, these Stormrake guys. Tell you what. Now,
Good value.
you knew this was coming. Something that you work with this stuff all day, every day. Think about all the people you talk to, all the conversations. What's something value that you can give these clients today?
Well, yeah, the value is probably the main thing. The value of the Bitcoin doesn't change. The units that you hold, it's only in relation to the price that you find by price to value. So stacking the amount of units is what is important. Because at the end of the day, you're only relating it to currency to get that value. But the value of how many Bitcoin and how many units of Bitcoin you have is probably important. So when the price drops, you're getting more units. That's why you have to think about it.
And that's a good thing.
Absolutely.
That's why we teach by the dip. Fish, anything final you want to say before we close it?
No, I already had my little moment, but how much good value are these guys? Should we bring them back?
No, I'd love to have these guys back. Would you like to come back on for another show?
Absolutely. Always.
Yeah. Sure.
I'll shoot some private content with them, build up their camera skills.
I mean, we've got a bit of work to do. I mean, especially at the start when I asked a question, there's just nothing. And I was like, okay, I'll just do a solo round. All right, guys, that's it for me. The guy in the hat, the Baron of Bitcoin, I was going to say, it's a Kushi. We have to give him a name.
We've got to give them nicknames, but for now we'll just stick to their real name.
Kushi, of course. Thank you so much, Kushi, and of course Brody from
Thanks so
Stormrake. The guys
with regards to Brody, he's Brody, the bullish Bitcoin broker.
There you go.
Brody, the bullish Bitcoin broker.
Yeah.
We haven't got one for Kushi.
You got to work on it.
We'll work on something for Kushi. That's it, guys. Thank you so much for listening to this little update, I suppose, Fish.
Yep.
And as always, just keep buying. That's what we're saying. That's really it.
Stay cool, calm, and collected.
Yeah.
Stack sats. Stay chill.
Now, I hope the guys don't put me down here, Bish, with what we're about to do. But
Oh,
so,
yes.
as we always say, beat the reset. We're going to give this a red hot go. Look after your health, look after your families, and as always,
Make
Good.
Choices.
oh, see you later. Thanks a lot, guys.